Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. We are going to get started here in just another minute, so hang tight. Let us know if you guys can hear me okay, and then we will get started here in just a really short while, like 30 seconds or so. Just want to check one or two more things here. And we should be ready to go. All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and again, happy Wednesday. We are live here this morning with our Set the Market morning show Monday through Thursday. As always, please make sure you subscribe and you hit the thumbs up like. That way you get all these things alerted to you in real time on YouTube. Now, top three things, or I guess the top couple of things here this morning. I want to just continue to talk about where we are in terms of Bitcoin and the IBIT ETF. That continues to be very interesting in terms of what's happening there this morning. Number two, I want to talk about Lily, LLY, and then we should have a look at Google and Amazon, which look kind of similar, but there may be some distinctions we'll have to see. So let's start off with a quick look at this whole situation in some of these Bitcoin things. And I should say also, just very quickly, I'm not a Bitcoiner, and there's a lot of scams out there pretending to be me that are Bitcoining. I'm just talking about it as a macro allocation. I think most of you guys that are followers, you know that, but just as an FYI, just to make sure everyone's clear on that. But I wanted to show this once again. I think I showed it yesterday here. This is the correlation of Bitcoin versus Ether, Bitcoin being in red, Ethereum in blue. And there is a lot of potential for this here to catch up. The ETF for that is... whatever, I keep forgetting the ticker. There's a couple of them. Just type in Ethereum ETF and you'll find one. But Bitcoin itself is looking really interesting. So that's what I want to quickly just go back to. And let me share this with you here, this chart here. And we're going to make this a monthly chart because we are, of course, just 2 more trading days in the month of October, today and tomorrow, Halloween. And so if you look at this on a monthly closing basis, this is starting to look really interesting. And so this is the monthly chart for Bitcoin. And I'm going to make it a log chart because that's what it needs to be. And you can see that if we were to close even just a touch higher from where we are right now, we should be able to eke out a new record high on a monthly, not a daily, not a weekly, but a monthly closing basis for Bitcoin. And I think that could be potentially very powerful, right? Because the algos then start noticing that and you get the chasing and the whole thing. And I do want to mention this one more time because I talk about it a lot to clients. The reason for this, among at least a good part of the reason, I know people seem to have think it's all political. I don't think that's the case. I think that this market's too big for just that. But it has to do with the global liquidity. We keep talking about this global liquidity cycle and how global liquidity came back in. This is central banks cutting interest rates, from China to Europe to, of course, here with the Fed. And so that's this blue line going up. So that is in large part, or at least in good part, I should say, why this Bitcoin move is going higher. And then, of course, we have the whole fiscal irresponsibility. And then, of course, gold keeps going higher because of the same reason. Of the fiscal sort of madness, I guess, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of reasons for that. And so I just thought I would show this to you again. If you are looking at this through the lens of ETFs, the IBIT ETF, if you're an Inner Circle member or ETF Silo Pro, you know where we are in positions on that. Just check your email for updates on it. We're just sending out updates this morning again. But the IBIT ETF, which just launched in January, by the way, the first half of January this year, it's up, I think, 55% year to date. It too, obviously, is going to break out. When Bitcoin breaks out, it's the same chart. And if you look at this more in the weekly chart, again, just trying to show you what this looks like, it is an important week. So how we close this week, how we close tomorrow actually, is actually very, very important for Bitcoin, for the IBIT ETF, and for other ETFs in this space, be it something like BLOK, or BITQ, not below, BLOK. That's one of them. Then there's BITQ. Again, and these are not, this is not the same as Bitcoin, but the correlation of these things to Bitcoin are very high. So some people like to dabble a little bit further on the risk curve. I don't know why, because Bitcoin itself is volatile enough, but that's not for me to judge. That's number one. Number two, we have to talk about Lily. So this is a very, very strong stock, and that's one of the main reasons why we like to use trend following as a starting point for a lot of things. And if I were to show you, and I'm going to quickly have to veer off chart here and see if I can share this with you. We bring up LLY in the market rover. This is our trend following tool, right? So here we go. So this is, and the stock is down this morning. This morning the stock is it's just a touch above 800. So I want to show you. I'd like to show you some numbers here and how this kind of might stack up, and we're going to use a daily chart to make sense of this. So this morning the stock basically is set to open below most support lines from a simplistic perspective. So I would watch this stock very, very closely, because it could be an opportunity not only to do something directional, but also potentially bear call spreads where we're saying, listen, the stock may not go down a heck of a lot, but it may not go up right away again. So there's really juicy opportunities that can happen from these kind of situations. But the stock, just for good measure, the stock looks like it's about to open about down here. So let's see, it's 811. So about down here. This is about where the stock is set to open today. Now, again, this does not mean this is the end of the story, the end of the road for Lily, but this is a big down move. I mean, again, the stock pre-market here is down as of right now about, let's call this 11 or 12%. So that's I think that's very important. We need to watch this. So bringing this over to our trend following measurement. Obviously, as you guys know, we do not hold swing trading positions into earnings. We do not hold swing trading positions into earnings. There's no sense for that. But this is how our trend following model measures this, right? So we've had this stock for the most part in a bullish trend, except for about a month-ish in February of last year. This has been in a bullish trend, nothing but buy signals. Now again, we had earnings, so we would not be holding this stock through an earnings support from a trading perspective. From an investment perspective, that's different, right? But then from an investment perspective, one would have presumably owned the stock since the low 300s at the very least, right? According to our model. But now this is going to be interesting. So we'll have to now see if this trend changed. This is going to take a couple of weeks or so at least, and see if this trend is actually changing. In the meantime, what we want to pay attention to is if there's an opportunity, and again, this is going to take some time. We'll have to at least wait through today and see what happens. But this could be a pretty big shakeup in for this stock if indeed it's changing course here. And again, this does not mean that the stock is done forever, but if it's kind of done going up, let's say for the foreseeable future of a few months, that provides plenty of opportunity, both maybe initially on the bear call side, and afterwards maybe once it starts rallying again on the bull put side. So there's plenty of opportunity here, particularly if you're an Inner Circle member or a CSA member. We will be watching this very, very closely. I know JB is doing his work on the stock today, so there'll be an email going out later on today on that as well. So that's that on Lily. Again, if you guys have questions, please let me know. I'm happy to address them. But these kinds of trends need something more sophisticated than a line. So this is, I think, where a lot of people are waking up to these facts now. So you can't just draw a line and call that analysis. These trends are too entrenched. There's too many factors here. So it needs more than just a line to tell us whether this trend is over. It needs more than just one moving average to tell us. So I'll be very careful of using just a 200-day moving average here. You need something more sophisticated for that, in my humble view. And so that's why we have our trend following model on the market rover telling us if this trend indeed is going to change. We will find out over the next couple of weeks or so. In the meantime, we are going to see if there's a trade or two to do. That's number two. So that's Bitcoin, that's or IBIT, that's Lily. The third thing I want to look at is, of course, Google. I understand no one gives a shit about Lily this morning because Google's up, right? That's the thing. It's sad, but it is where we are, and so let's talk about it. So Google is this morning is up around $180. So $180 is about up here. So that gets it within, not too far away from from its all-time highs. The question, of course, is it then going to make a lower high, or is it going to continue to go higher? I do not have an answer for you. I'm sure someone on Twitter has an answer for you. And I, of course, you see my sarcasm there. But I think this is going to take some time. Let's see how it reacts. What I think is really interesting is we have other companies reporting earnings this week, right? Like Microsoft and so on and so forth. And if I look at some of these charts, and I was looking at Amazon earlier too, and a lot of these other ones, I could pick other ones too. They all kind of look the same. So I would be very careful trying to make an idiosyncratic bet here on Google. I think before I would put on a trade on Google, I want to see how Amazon reacts, how Microsoft reacts, and to a lesser extent, Meta this week. All those companies are set to report earnings this week. At least that's the way I've taken note of this. So that's, I think, really important here. This is one big trade. It's not. I don't think. And we will find out after these companies report, of course, but I would be very reluctant to put on a trade on Google, and let me know if this makes sense, right? But because it's one trade, so maybe I'll show it to you this way. So let's put Google, Amazon, and let's say Microsoft all on one chart. And so they're the same chart, guys. It's just the same trade. You could, of course, add other stocks and it's the same trade. It's the same thing. So if I'm making a bet on Google here today, post earnings, but for me, I really want to first see what again the other companies are how they're gonna react to their earnings. And again, that being the Amazons and Microsofts of the world. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So those are our three things here this morning. I hope this is helpful. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. There's a lot of risk or a lot of events here happening over the next number of days, as I think everyone knows as well. We've got, again, tech earnings. We've got a lot of economic data, by the way. It's like fast and furious this morning. I don't know if you guys saw, there was GDP numbers. Job numbers were really good this morning. GDP was a bit weaker, so that's very conflicting. We're getting a lot of news out of Europe this morning. The DAX, by the way, and I realize this isn't popular, but it's actually very, very important. But what the DAX does really matter. So the German DAX, for example, this morning is down about 1.3%. So we'll see where if that's an indication. But a lot of news. And then, of course, next week we've got an election here stateside. So that's it. Please, again, make sure you subscribe. You hit the thumbs up like, because that allows you to get this the updated information in real time when we do new updates and new live streams. And, of course, it helps us to be able to continue. So we will see you back here tomorrow for the last time this month, Thursday, because we do Monday through Thursday on this show. It's Halloween tomorrow. Very exciting. Have a great day. And if you're an Inner Circle member, we'll see you guys in the chat room. Thanks, and have a great day.